Sometimes you need like the perfect AI for something.
Mhm.
But looking at all the choices can be a whole thing.
Yeah, it's like another job just to figure out which AI to use. So what if there was an AI that could just choose for you? That's the idea behind these LLM judges, right?
Yeah.
AI that look at other AIs and say which one's the best. But can we really trust them to do that? I mean, making those decisions. Well, researchers wanted to find out. And there's this study called JuStRank, where they tested 48 different AI judges to see how good they were at picking the top AIs.
Yeah, really interesting question. And the way they set it up is pretty clever. So imagine you have an AI that can judge individual things, like saying if one email is better than another, but then can that same AI zoom out and look at the big picture? Can it say, okay, based on all these individual judgments, this whole AI system is better than that one?
Hmm.
That's what they were trying to figure out.
So kind of like if you're a food critic. You can say if this dish is better than that dish, but can you then rank entire restaurants based on all their dishes? Interesting. Did anything in the study surprise you? Oh, yeah, for sure. One of the biggest surprises was that the smaller, more focused AIs did really well. These are called reward models. And they were just as good at ranking entire AI systems as the really big general AI models. You'd think bigger is always better, but nope, sometimes a specialized AI is just better for a specialized job.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense when you put it like that. And something else that I found interesting was that even when they used the same AI judge, the way they asked the question could change the ranking. Like different instructions led to different rankings, which seems to show these AI judges are pretty sensitive to how you talk to them.
Right. It really shows how important it is to be clear, even when you're communicating with AI. One detail I thought was really interesting was that when they asked the AI judge for a numeric score, like out of 100, or even a word rating like okay or amazing, that led to more consistent rankings than when they asked the judge to compare two AIs head to head.
Hmm. So it's almost like giving them a scale to work with, or some specific words to use. Makes them more confident. I wonder if that's true for us too. Like maybe having clear categories or ways to describe things helps us make more consistent choices.
That's a really cool connection. Makes you think about how to design better systems for both AI and humans, really. But anyway, the study also looked at two other things about AI judges, beyond just the overall rankings. They looked at their decisiveness and their potential bias.
Okay, let's break that down. What do you mean when you say an AI judge is decisive?
Well, it's basically how confident the AI is in its judgments. Some AIs are like, super sure of themselves, always giving a 10 or a 0, but others are more hesitant. They never go too high or too low on the scale. The researchers actually figured out a way to measure this confidence, and what they found was that the AIs that used worded scores, those ones with more nuanced language, they were actually the most decisive.
Huh. So giving them more expressive language seems to make them more confident. Interesting. Okay, and what about bias? What does that look like with these AI judges?
Well, it basically means that some AIs consistently overrate or underrate some AI systems, even after you account for how confident they usually are, almost like they have a preference for a certain style or approach, regardless of how the AI actually performs.
Wow, that is really fascinating. Makes you wonder if they're picking up on things we don't even see, like subtle patterns in the data or maybe even in how the AI is being judged or trained.
Yeah, exactly. Brings up some big questions about how to make sure these AI judges are as objective as possible.
Yeah. How to make sure they're fair and unbiased.
Yeah.
It really makes you think about how tough it is to build anything that's truly impartial, whether it's AI or even just how humans make decisions. I mean, even experts, they have their own biases, right?
Yeah.
Based on their experience, their background, all sorts of things. And now we've got AI judging AI. It's like a whole new layer of complexity.
Totally. And that's why I think this research is so important. It's helping us understand how complicated this all is. Building AI judges and using them the right way, it's not just about being technically accurate, it's bigger than that.
Speaking of potential problems, the study did mention some limitations, right? What were some of those?
Yeah, so one of the main limitations was that the gold standard they use, the thing they were comparing the AI judges to, those were human rankings. And even human rankings can be subjective. What one person thinks is amazing, another person might think is just okay.
Right. Everyone's got their own preferences. Like some people love spicy food and some people hate it.
Exactly. Taste is totally subjective, so it's hard to say what the right answer is, even when you're using human judgment. Oh, and another limitation was that the study only looked at English, so we don't know if the findings would be the same for other languages.
That makes sense. So there's still a lot to explore. Different languages, different cultures. It's a whole new area of research.
Yeah, definitely a lot more to learn there. But Even with these limitations, the study gives us some valuable insights for anyone who's thinking about the future of AI.
So if we take a step back, what are the big takeaways here? What should people be thinking about when it comes to these AI judges and what they can do?
I think the biggest takeaway is that AI judges have a lot of potential. They could totally change how we build and use AI, make it way more efficient to choose the right AI tool for the job. But, and this is a really important but, we can't just let AI judges run wild and trust everything they say.
So it's not like a magic solution. We still need to be careful and think critically.
Exactly. We have to be aware of potential bias.
Right, like we were talking about.
And we need to be thoughtful about how we give them instructions. And maybe the most important thing is to remember that AI judgment is still just a tool. Even the most advanced AI still needs human guidance.
It's like AI is making us think about ourselves, how we make decisions, how we define fairness. It's forcing us to examine our own judgment.
That's a great point. It's like AI is holding up a mirror, and now we have to look closely.
It's wild, right? This whole idea of AI pushing us to rethink everything, not just the technology itself, but how we make decisions, what we think is fair. It's like AI is making us question what it even means to make good judgments.
Yeah, it's like AI is holding up this mirror and forcing us to really look at ourselves. And one of the biggest questions that comes up is, when we start giving AI more and more tasks, are we also giving away some of our responsibility?
Ooh, the big one.
Yeah.
Especially with these AI judges. If they're the ones picking the best AIs, does that mean we're giving up some of our decision-making power? Even like our ethical decision-making?
Exactly. It brings up all these ethical questions. Like, what if an AI judge always chooses AIs that are super efficient? Even if it means they're not fair or transparent, are we okay with those trade-offs being made without any human input?
It's like those thought experiments,
Yeah.
like the trolley problem, where you have to make impossible choices. It feels like those dilemmas are becoming more and more real, not
Sure.
just hypotheticals anymore.
Right, and that's why it's so important to talk about this now. While the technology is still being developed, we need to figure out what values we want to put into these systems. How can we make sure AI is helping humanity, not the other way around?
It's a good reminder that AI isn't something in the future. It's already here, shaping our world right now. And it's up to us to engage with it, to really think about it and be responsible.
Absolutely. We're the ones creating the future of AI through the choices we make today. So the more informed we are, the more we understand, the better that future will be for everyone.
This has been such a fascinating deep dive. Thanks for helping us unpack all this.
It's been my pleasure.
I think our listeners are going to have a lot to think about after this one.
I hope so. These conversations are so important.
And that's it for today's deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, keep learning.